Last year, I opened a storage closet and didn't recognize half of what was inside. Candle holders shaped like pumpkins, a wrinkle serum I swore would change my life, a drawer full of chargers to devices I no longer own. That moment hit me harder than I expected. Why was I still buying things that no longer felt like me? I'm Eleanor, 70 years old, and over the past year, I've quietly stopped buying 9 things for good. Some were emotional. Some were surprisingly freeing. Let's start with the first. Seasonal decor overload. My turning point came in November, somewhere between a tangled string of fairy lights and a ceramic reindeer with one antler. I was down on my knees, trying to unearth my autumn gratitude wreath from the back of the hall closet, when it struck me, I was no longer decorating for joy. I was decorating out of obligation. Back when my boys were little, seasonal decor felt like magic. Pumpkins in October, garlands in December, bunny figurines in April. Each holiday gave the house a heartbeat, a rhythm that matched the calendar. But now it was dust, clutter, and bins that made my back ache. And the truth? No one was really noticing. The grandkids came for the hugs, the cookies, the silly card games, not the fabric leaves I spent 40 minutes fluffing, so I sat with it. What was I trying to hold on to? The answer was simple: tradition, but traditions evolve. Now I keep one small box per season, only filled with things that make me smile before I even set them out. A handmade star my late husband folded from newspaper, a little wooden turkey from my son's second-grade art project, a vintage snow globe that plays Silent Night when you wind it. Instead of filling the room with decorations, I fill it with music, warm lighting, and fresh flowers that reflect the season in a quieter way. The emotional shift, freedom. Letting go of excess gave me more time to enjoy the parts of the season that actually matter: rest, connection, and stories over tea. Simple step. Choose your favorite 5-10 seasonal items, store them in one easy-to-reach container, donate or gift the rest. Keep what feels alive. Why it matters emotionally. Many of us decorate to keep the sense of family alive, but the essence of that love doesn't live in plastic pumpkins or glittered snowflakes. It lives in our memories, in our laughter, and in what we choose to carry forward. 2. Expensive anti-aging products. Let me say this plainly. I don't want to fight time anymore. I want to walk alongside it. In my 50s and 60s, I had an entire drawer dedicated to hope in a jar. Serums with silver lids, creams with triple action promises, little ampoules with droppers that smelled like lavender and desperation. There was always something new, something that promised a little more firmness, a little less sag. I spent hundreds, no thousands, across the years chasing a face I used to have. Then one day, I stood in front of the mirror, dabbing yet another miracle cream on my cheeks, and I whispered something I never had before. This is my face, and I like her. That was the day I stopped trying to rewind myself. I switched to a simple 3-step routine: gentle cleanser, a single moisturizer I trust, an SPF if I'm stepping out. That's it. No more shelves full of regret and residue. Now the money I used to pour into chasing youth, I use it to treat myself to things that feed my soul, like handmade herbal teas, watercolor supplies, or concert tickets to local jazz nights. If you're overwhelmed, pick one product that feels good and let the rest go for a month. See how your skin and your heart respond. We're not trying to erase time. We're learning to love the way it marks us. Every laugh line is proof that we've lived richly. You are not less beautiful, you are becoming. 3. Trendy clothing and accessories. It took one humbling moment in a department store dressing room to change the way I saw my closet. There I was, squeezing into a blouse I'd seen on a celebrity 20 years younger, when I caught my reflection, not just in the mirror, but in my own eyes. I didn't look stylish. I looked uncomfortable. I looked like someone trying to be someone else. So I walked out, drove home, and stood in front of my own closet. Half of it still had tags. The other half hadn't been touched in months. You know what I pulled out? My soft denim shirt. the one I've had since 2003. It's a little faded now. The elbows are soft from wear, but every time I put it on, I feel like me. That day I made a choice. If it doesn't feel like home on my body, it doesn't belong on my hanger. Now I buy clothes sparingly, and when I do, I ask two questions. Does this feel like me right now? Will I still love this next season? My wardrobe is smaller now, but it's alive with pieces that breathe with me, not squeeze me into someone else's silhouette. Pull out 5 outfits that feel most like you, and wear only those for a week. See how it changes your confidence. Often fewer options free us emotionally. Clothes aren't just fabric. They're mirrors. When we wear things that feel false, we disconnect from ourselves. Choosing comfort and honesty in what we wear is an act of self-respect. As Eleanor began letting go, just these 3 things. Mind you, she noticed something subtle. She was coming home to herself. Her rooms, her reflection, and her wardrobe all began to mirror someone grounded, not grasping. Letting go isn't about lack, it's about lightness. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing in your home or your habits that you've quietly stopped buying? And what did it give you in return? Let's share below. Verdict kitchen gadgets I never use. Let me take you back to a cupboard in my old kitchen. It was the one next to the stove. The one I dreaded opening because something always fell out. There was a spiralizer I used twice, a popcorn maker from a Christmas sale, a garlic peeler that sounded brilliant on the infomercial but never left the box. At some point it hit me. This wasn't a kitchen, it was a storage locker for someone else's cooking dreams. Here's what I've learned about gadgets. They whisper promises. Buy me, and you'll suddenly love baking bread from scratch. Get this juicer, and you'll become that person who drinks carrot juice every morning while journaling in sunlight. But reality? Most of these gadgets become guilt. They take up space, collect dust, and stare at you like unfulfilled resolutions every time you reach for a pan. So, I had a reckoning. I took every tool out, yes, every single one, and lined them up on the counter. I asked myself, have I used this in the last year? Do I genuinely enjoy using it? Or is it just noise in my kitchen? I kept the tools I use every week: a cast iron skillet, one great chopping knife, my beloved kettle, and a wooden spoon, so worn it's practically part of the family. Everything else? I gifted, donated, or recycled. Open one drawer today and take out 3 items you haven't used in the past year. Ask yourself if they're serving you or taking from you. No guilt, just honesty. Many of us hold on to kitchen tools as symbols of who we hope to become. Letting go doesn't mean failure. It means embracing the version of you that actually exists, wise, present, and joyfully selective. 5. Bulk bargain buys I don't actually use. There was a time I treated warehouse shopping like a sport. You'd find me navigating towering aisles with a cart big enough to seat a Labrador retriever. It felt thrilling, those mega deals, that 20-pack of hummus, the 48 rolls of paper towels. But then I started noticing something. Half the things I bought to save money either expired, got wasted, or sat forgotten in the back of a cabinet. And worse, the clutter gave me anxiety. One afternoon I found 3 bottles of the same salad dressing, all unopened, all expired, all bought because they were a great deal. That day I asked myself, am I saving money, or am I just spending it differently? Bulk buying for many of us is about security. It says, you'll never run out, but what if that fear is no longer serving us? These days I shop smaller and smarter. I buy what I need for the week. I keep my pantry calm, not crammed. And when I do buy in bulk, it's for things I know I'll use, like toilet paper, sure, but not exotic jams I bought on impulse. Keep a waste list on your fridge. Every time you toss something expired or unused, jot it down. After a month, look at what patterns show up. You might be surprised by what you're overbuying. Overshopping often comes from fear of running out, of not having enough. But true peace comes not from excess, but from knowing what enough really looks like for you today. 6. Guilt gifting. This one might sting a little, but it's the one that changed my relationships the most. For years, I gave gifts out of guilt. Birthdays, holidays, even casual get-togethers, I'd show up with a wrapped box or bag, not because I wanted to, but because I felt like I had to. The pressure was intense. I'd ask myself, what if they think I don't care? Or worse, what if they remember that last year I gave something better? So I overgave. Sometimes beyond what I could afford, sometimes giving things I knew they didn't need, just to avoid the awkwardness of showing up empty-handed. Then something happened. My neighbor Ruth stopped by with a small card after my surgery. No flowers, no gift basket, just a note that said, "I'm thinking of you, you're loved." I cried when I read it, and it dawned on me, this was the best gift I'd received in years. Now I gift with heart, not habit. Sometimes that's a handwritten letter. Sometimes it's a shared walk. Sometimes, yes, it's a small item, but always something chosen with intention, not guilt. Write a list of 3 people you love. Next to each name, jot down one non-material way you could show them appreciation this month. Guilt gifting often comes from a deep desire to feel valuable, but you are valuable without the bow or receipt. Giving with heart, not pressure, creates deeper bonds and frees you from resentment. These next steps in Eleanor's journey weren't just about decluttering things, they were about untangling emotions, about questioning why we do what we do, and asking if those reasons still serve the woman we are now. Each small shift gave her room to breathe, a little more clarity, a little less pressure, and a lot more truth. So now, I'd love to ask you, have you ever caught yourself buying something out of habit, guilt, or a just in case that never comes? What helped you let go? Let's reflect in the comments. Your story might be the nudge someone else needs today. 7. Duplicate health supplements. I remember the day I spilled my supplement drawer. Yes, drawer. It had turned into that over the years. Multivitamins for bone strength, omega-3 for the heart, a B12 boost. Then came magnesium, collagen, turmeric, ginkgo biloba, and something called memory mushrooms that smelled like a forest floor. They all claimed to do something magical, but when I looked closer, I realized I didn't even know which ones I had already taken that day. The drawer felt like a pharmacy, not a wellness corner, so I made an appointment with my doctor, carrying a tote bag of bottles. When I poured them out, she chuckled kindly and said, "Eleanor, your intention is golden, but half of these don't interact well, and the other half you don't even need." That was my wake-up call. It wasn't just about money, though yes, I was spending a small fortune. It was about trust. I'd handed my well-being over to marketing labels and shiny promises. Somewhere in that mess, I lost sight of what my body truly needed. Now, I take 3 essentials recommended by my physician. That's it. And I focus more on real food: spinach, lentils, nuts, and eggs. I've even started learning simple recipes that help me get nutrients through meals rather than pills. And let me tell you, my digestion has never thanked me more. Line up your current supplements, cross-check them with your doctor or pharmacist, ask which ones are truly helpful. Keep it simple, and let your body breathe. We often take supplements to feel in control, but too much choice can become chaos. Letting go of excess is an act of trust. Trusting your body, trusting science, trusting yourself. 80. Home decor for impressing guests. Let me tell you about the throw pillows. There were 17 of them. No, I'm not exaggerating. They were in shades of gold, ivory, and burnt orange, coordinated to perfection. Each one fluffed, arranged, and rotated seasonally, like they were in some kind of pillow ballet. But here's the thing. When guests came over, I'd spend 15 minutes just moving them around so people could sit down, and afterward, I'd refold blankets, reposition every cushion, and wonder, did anyone even notice the effort? That's when the truth landed on me like a feather, or a couch load of them. I wasn't decorating for me, I was decorating for imaginary approval. We women were raised on the idea that a tidy, tastefully styled home meant we were doing life right. But over time, my beautiful living room started feeling like a showroom, not a place for joy, not a place for dancing barefoot to old records or curling up with a book and mismatched socks. So I donated half the pillows, moved the delicate figurines into storage, reclaimed my coffee table for puzzles and tea. And you know what? Now when friends visit, they sink into my sofa with a deep sigh and say, "Your home feels so cozy." That's the compliment I treasure. Ask yourself which parts of your decor you're maintaining for others. Then pick one area, a shelf, a table, a chair, and make it 100% for you. Functional, calming, and sincere. Decorating for show often hides a fear of not being enough. But your home should be a sanctuary, not a statement. The more it reflects you, the more peace it offers to you and your guests. 9. Subscription boxes and services I forgot I had. It started with a credit card statement, one of those quietly shocking moments when the totals just didn't make sense. I found charges for things I hadn't used in months, a streaming service I never clicked, a beauty sample box that kept arriving, even though I stopped opening them, and an audiobook subscription that sent me monthly emails I always meant to read. These little subscriptions are like digital weeds. They start small, blend in, and before you know it, they've taken over the garden. The companies design them that way. Easy to sign up, hard to cancel. Quiet enough to forget, but they chip away at your budget, and more importantly, they clutter your mental space. So I grabbed a notebook and wrote down every automatic payment tied to my card. I cross-checked my email for welcome messages and billing reminders. One by one, I canceled the ones that didn't add true value. And what a feeling, it was like decluttering a room you didn't know was messy. Now I keep a one-in one-out rule. If I add a new service, I cancel one. It keeps things intentional. Take 20 minutes this week to go through your recent bank or card statements. Highlight every recurring charge. Ask, does this serve me? Does this still bring joy, connection, or learning? If not, let it go. We hang on to subscriptions the same way we hang on to habits, because once they felt exciting. But today's you deserves better than yesterday's leftovers. Each canceled box is a reclaimed corner of peace. These final 3 choices Eleanor made weren't flashy. No big purchases, no dramatic scenes. Just quiet, powerful decisions to stop leaking energy, and the ripple effect. More space, more clarity, a calm budget, and a home that hums with presence. Now I'd love to hear your voice. What's one monthly purchase, service, or good habit you've realized doesn't actually serve you anymore? Let us know in the comments. Your insight could set someone else free. 10. Duplicate kitchenware just in case. I once had 4 cheese graters. 4. Not because I loved cheese that much, though let's be honest, a good cheddar is hard to beat, but because I kept buying replacements every time I couldn't find the one I already owned. Turns out, the original grater was just buried behind 3 unused casserole dishes and a cookie press I hadn't touched since 1996. It wasn't just the graters, either. There were duplicates of measuring cups, spatulas, ladles, and mixing bowls in every shade of beige. Just in case, I used to say. But one day, while digging through a drawer for a can opener and coming up with yet another whisk, I had a thought. I don't need to prepare for a kitchen emergency, I need to prepare for peace of mind. So I emptied every drawer, every cabinet, and lined up all the doubles and triples. I asked myself, which one do I reach for without thinking? That became the keeper. The rest, I donated them to a local cooking class for seniors. Now when I open my drawers, I don't feel overwhelmed, I feel calm, I feel capable. Pick a drawer or shelf today, and pull out every duplicate item. Keep the one that feels easiest, familiar, and functional. Let the rest move on to someone who actually needs them. Holding on to extras often stems from fear of not having enough, or not being prepared. But every extra we let go of is a vote of confidence in ourselves, that we do have what we need, and we are resourceful enough to manage beautifully. 11. Craft supplies for projects I shall never start. There was a phase, I'll call it the Pinterest period, where I became enchanted by the idea of being a master crafter. I had visions of hand-painted cards, stitched table runners, and decoupaged flower pots lining the kitchen windowsill. I bought colored paper in bulk, glue guns, buttons, yarn in 6 colors, fancy scissors that cut little zigzags, all the tools of a woman about to become an artsy legend. And then, life happened. Time passed, energy shifted, my enthusiasm cooled, but the supplies remained. For years, every time I opened the closet, I'd get a pang of guilt. You should really finish that scrapbook for the grandkids. Why haven't you made that wreath you pinned in 2014? It felt less like inspiration, and more like judgment. Then I gave myself permission. I sat down and said out loud, I don't actually want to do these projects anymore. And just like that, the weight lifted. I kept a small box of what truly brings me joy: watercolors, blank note cards, and my favorite fine tip pens. The rest, I donated to a school art program. Now, I don't create from guilt. I create from delight. Open your craft bin, basket, or closet. Pull out one item that feels more like pressure than pleasure. If it makes you sigh instead of smile, it's okay to let it go. Many of us collect supplies for who we hoped we'd become. But there's joy in recognizing who we actually are, and embracing what creativity looks like today, not 10 years ago. 12. Fancy serving dishes I rarely use. There's a crystal punch bowl sitting on a high shelf in my dining room. It hasn't held punch in over 2 decades. But I kept it. For tradition, for elegance, for what if I host a grand holiday party again someday. Truth is, my style of entertaining has changed. These days, it's simpler, more real. A small plate of cookies, and a pot of tea, with a close friend. Pasta, in one pot, and garlic bread, on the side with my sister. The punch bowl? It's too heavy to lift. The silver trays? Tarnished and forgotten. So I took stock. I laid out every serving piece I owned on the dining table. Platters, bowls, utensils, cake stands. Then I imagined the kind of gatherings that bring me joy now. Not big productions, but meaningful connections. I picked 3 go-to dishes that I love to use. Everything else, I either stored away for rare use, or passed along to someone who still hosts big affairs. My table may look simpler now, but every item on it earns its place. Every dish is one I enjoy lifting, washing, and sharing. No frills, just comfort. Pick 2 serving items you haven't used in the last 2 years. Ask, is this part of my life now, or just a remnant of an older chapter? Our kitchens often reflect past versions of ourselves. The entertainer, the homemaker, the mother of a bustling household. But letting go of what no longer fits is not sad. It's freeing. It means honoring who you are today. With each release, whether it was a drawer of gadgets, a closet full of crafts, or a shelf of heavy dishes, Eleanor felt lighter, not lesser. Because this journey isn't about reducing who we are, it's about refining it, honoring the woman we've become, by creating a space that reflects her truth, her ease, her joy. Now I'd love to hear from you. Is there something in your home that once held meaning, but no longer fits the life you live today? Share your story in the comments. Someone might read it and find the courage to let go too. 13. Backup special occasion outfits that never get worn. Minutes, all for events that existed mostly in my imagination, just in case invitations to galas, banquets, or someone else's wedding. Now don't get me wrong. I love dressing up, but one day, while reaching past these glittery someday pieces to grab my soft black cardigan, I paused. It hit me. Those clothes didn't represent my current life. They represented someone I thought I might need to be, to fit in somewhere I might go. They were outfits designed for approval, not comfort. So I stood there, hand on a sequined hanger, and asked, when was the last time I actually wore this? The answer was never. That afternoon, I made a rule. If it's never been worn and doesn't make me feel like myself, it doesn't stay. I narrowed it all down to 2 go-to occasion outfits, both comfy, timeless, and totally me. One black wrap dress, one navy blouse, with slacks. Done. Now my closet doesn't whisper pressure, it welcomes me. Take out every fancy piece from your wardrobe and try it on. Move your body in it. Sit, stand, breathe. If it feels like a costume instead of confidence, it's time to let it go. We often hold on to clothes for lives we're no longer living, or never truly wanted. Releasing those items is more than decluttering. It's self-acceptance in fabric form. 14. Wall art that doesn't speak to me anymore. There's a framed print in my hallway, soft brush strokes, gold frame, very tasteful. It was a housewarming gift from a friend years ago. At the time, I was grateful. It filled a blank space. It looked right. But every time I walked past it, something felt muted. It wasn't until my granddaughter visited that I noticed it clearly. She tilted her head and said, "Grandma, this painting feels kind of sad." Out of the mouths of babes, right? That one sentence gave me permission. I didn't need to keep things on my walls just because they'd always been there. So one weekend, I took everything down, every print, every framed quote, every dusty canvas, and leaned them against the living room wall. Then I walked around the house with fresh eyes and asked, what do I want to see when I wake up? What art lifts me, reminds me of joy? To my surprise, it wasn't the things I thought were tasteful. It was a bright watercolor from a local artist, a child's drawing, a beach photo I took with trembling hands but perfect timing. Now each piece on my wall tells a story. My story. Choose one wall in your home and really look at it. Does it reflect who you are now, or who you once thought you should be? If it feels lifeless, give yourself permission to refresh it. Our walls shape our mood. When we fill them with things that inspire or comfort us, we create a daily atmosphere of joy, not obligation. 15. Old paperwork. Just in case I need it someday. You know the drawer, the one filled with warranties for blenders you no longer own, expired insurance forms, tax returns from the 90s, and takeout menus from restaurants that don't even exist anymore. Mine was in the hallway cabinet. It started as a folder, became a box. Eventually, it turned into what I lovingly referred to as the paper graveyard. And here's the thing. It weighed on me. Not physically, but mentally. Every time I needed to find something important, I'd have to dig past piles of maybes and what-ifs. It made me feel disorganized, even a little ashamed. So I set aside one rainy afternoon, made a pot of tea, and sorted it all. 3 piles: keep, shred, and recycle. What stayed? Birth certificates, house deeds, health records. What left? Everything else. Especially anything that made me feel like I was clinging to paperwork out of fear rather than necessity. I even went digital with some of it. Took photos of receipts, stored them in labeled folders on my computer. No more guessing, no more guilt. And let me tell you, the next time I opened that drawer, I almost teared up. It was clear, easy, peaceful. Choose one small file or folder, and go through it. You don't need to do it all at once. But start. Let go of papers that carry anxiety, not importance. Cluttered paperwork often reflects inner clutter. When we sort through it, we reclaim a little control, a little space, a sense of calm we absolutely deserve. Eleanor's journey didn't end with tossing out cheese graters or deleting subscriptions. It ended with clarity, with a home and a heart that felt aligned. Sometimes, all it takes is one small decision. A moment of honesty, a shift in how we see our space and ourselves. So now I'd love to hear from you. Was there a moment when you realized something in your home no longer reflected the woman you are today? Drop it in the comments. Let's continue to learn from each other's beautiful, evolving lives. All right, friend. If you're still holding on to a 5th cheese grater or a someday sequin blouse, it's time to laugh, let go, and love the space you've earned. Simplifying at 70, that's not downsizing. It's uprising. Drop your favorite "I ditched it" story below. I'm cheering you on already.